Long before maps were drawn and borders were argued over, the land that would later be called Yorubaland lay between forest and savannah, breathing quietly with rivers, hills, and red earth. The people who lived there did not yet call themselves Yoruba. They were clans of farmers, hunters, potters, and iron workers, bound not by a single name, but by shared rhythms of life. They followed the seasons, cleared land with fire and stone, and listened carefully to the warnings of the wind and the silence of animals. Each community had its elders, each lineage its stories, and each settlement its sacred grove where the living spoke with the unseen. These early people believed that life was layered. Above the visible world was the realm of the unseen forces, ancestors, spirits of land and water, and the moral laws that governed harmony. To live well was to remain balanced with nature and one's neighbors. Even at this early stage, ideas that would later shape Yoruba philosophy, respect for destiny, reverence for ancestry, and the power of spoken words were already forming, quietly but firmly. Over generations, population grew and settlements expanded. Some communities began to move eastward and southward, guided by fertile land and reliable water sources. Oral tradition remembers these movements not as sudden migrations, but as slow, thoughtful journeys, families splitting, reuniting, and adapting. Hunters returned with tales of a land where hills rose gently from the forest and the earth itself seemed ancient and powerful. This place would later be known as lle-lfe. Lle-lfe was not chosen by accident. It sat at a crossroads of ecology and trade, where forest products met savannah roots. As people gathered there, they brought skills from different regions: advanced iron smelting, refined pottery, bead making, and complex systems of governance. The town grew not just in size, but in meaning. It became a spiritual center, a place where the people believed the world had taken its first proper shape. In Yoruba tradition, Oduduwa stands at the center of origin stories. In a realistic telling, Oduduwa can be understood not only as a single mystical figure, but as the memory of an era of leadership. He represents the unifier, possibly a powerful ruler, priest king, or group of leaders who helped organize the growing communities of lle-lfe into a stable political and spiritual system. Under this leadership, customs were standardized, sacred laws were reinforced, kingship rituals formalized, and the idea of divine authority linked to governance took firm root. The ruler was not just a king, but a bridge between worlds, responsible for maintaining balance between the people, the ancestors, and the land. Over time, the achievements of this era were condensed into the figure of Oduduwa, whose story carried both historical memory and sacred symbolism. As lle-lfe flourished, its influence spread outward. Princes, priests, and warriors were sent to establish new settlements: Oyo, Ijesha, Ekiti, Ijebu, and others. Each carried with them a piece of lle-lfe's authority, sacred objects, rituals of kingship, and the belief that their right to rule came from the same ancient source. Though these new towns became independent, they acknowledged a shared origin. It was during this expansion that a broader identity began to form. Language similarities deepened, customs aligned, and shared myths connected distant communities. The word Yoruba itself would come much later, introduced through external contact, but the people already recognized themselves as part of a larger cultural family, linked by ancestry, worldview, and memory. Centuries passed, and lle-lfe produced art that stunned the world when it was finally uncovered. Bronze and terracotta heads, naturalistic and dignified, revealed a society with advanced technical skill and deep respect for human form. These artworks were not mere decoration, they were vessels of memory, honoring rulers, ancestors, and the continuity of life. Archaeology confirms what oral tradition preserved, that lle-lfe was an ancient urban center with complex social organization as early as the 11th century. Roads, walls, and sacred spaces show careful planning. This evidence anchors the story of Yoruba origins not only in myth but in lived material history. The arrival of trans-Saharan traders, followed later by Europeans, brought new names, religions, and pressures. The Yoruba world was shaken by wars, slave raids, and colonial rule. Yet the core of the culture endured. Language survived, kingship remained, proverbs, Ifa divination, festivals, and respect for elders continued to guide life. Even when scattered across the Atlantic through enslavement, Yoruba descendants carried their beliefs with them. In the Americas, these traditions transformed but did not disappear, becoming the roots of new spiritual systems and cultural expressions. The origin of the Yoruba people is not a single moment frozen in time. It is a long process of movement, settlement, leadership, belief, and adaptation. From early forest communities to the sacred city of lle-lfe, from ancestral rulers to modern cities, the Yoruba story is one of continuity and renewal. To be Yoruba is to inherit memory, the earth of lle-lfe, the wisdom of ancestors, and the understanding that identity is both given and shaped. The story continues, carried forward by each generation, adding new chapters to an origin that never truly ends.